Psychic Dolphin Garage.
So anyways, to launch us off, I had ChatGPT write us a welcoming segment for a news podcast.
Oh, really? Okay.
This week, we're the Intrepid Crab Corral. Welcome to the Intrepid Crab Corral, where we bring you the latest and greatest news and current events. Join us as we deep dive into the most important stories of the day and explore the world from a fresh perspective. Get ready for a lively and engaging ride as we navigate the choppy waters of the world together. This is Intrepid Crab Corral.
Oh, it hurts because that feels like a not half bad description for a podcast.
Fade in the light, like electronica, like.
See, it just makes me think of I'm hungry now because Intrepid Crab Corral sounds like a great surf and turf steakhouse.
Crab Corral. Yeah, y'all, we're gonna go down to the Crab Corral, get some crawfish, fried catfish.
I mean, look, dude, steak and crabs. That's right there. 1A and 1B for favorite foods.
Oh, Crab Corral, steak and surf and turf. Okay,
that's what I mean. Crab Corral. Yeah, and then the decor would be badass. It would just be like people riding giant crabs with lassos and shit.
Oh my god. The big platter is just called carcinization.
yeah, hell yeah.
This is the world's most amazing plot line to Aquaman 2. Yeah, it needs to be included or we revolt. You hear me,
he just opens a restaurant. I like it.
Yeah, get rid of Amber Heard and replace her with a crab.
Is he butchering sea creatures all day, every day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but just the evil ones. They know what they did. This is
the evil races, of course. Yes, as we know, the evil sea races.
Guantanamo Bay for fish is
the non-kosher ones: crab, shrimp, shellfish. Fuck that. He scales only. Everyone else, it's gonna be a bad news for y'all.
Sorry, Zach. I was so focused when you were reading. You were talking about the choppy waters part. I was thinking as a leftist podcast that was we could say the Chapo waters. You know, since we're all kind of still riding that inevitable wave.
We're all bubbling in the Chapo waters, screaming as the air hisses out of us.
We have
it turns out
hierarchy.
it's just the air actually escaping. They're not really screaming. You're not really torturing an animal, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. We're not here to debate the morality of eating shellfish because it's moral. Believe me, trust me.
Oh, delicious, buttery, and moral.
Oh, I'm the garlic butter of the news industry, if you know what I'm saying.
Ooh, man.
People claim to not want to eat the bugs, but if they're underwater bugs, then it's a cuisine unto itself. So.
Well, it's because they've been cleaned thoroughly, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
They exist in water.
It's like the argument against processed foods, you know. You don't want the machines to pull the proteins out of the bugs. You want to suck it out yourself.
Keep it really fresh, and depending on how close they are to a BP drilling plant, it might be a little vinaigrette type situation with the amount of oil.
Yeah, pre-salted, pre-oiled, ready to go, greased up and ready to boogie.
Greased up and ready to podcast. That's our introduction.
Yeah,
squealing into this world. Hi everyone, welcome to Crab Corral. I guess that's what we're going with.
Yeehaw!
I'm Keldon. I'm joined by Zach. Zach, say hi to the fine people at home.
Hi, the fine people at home.
Perfect. The unfine people at home can get fucked as always. But we're joined, of course, by Rivers Langley, as everyone could tell from the episode title that we'll be dropping anyway. So thank you very much for clicking on that, all of the fans. Rivers, how's it going?
Yeehaw! I'm ready to go. Greased up, ready to go.
We actually don't have Rivers with us here today. We just have a soundboard where we just press the various clips. Throw it over.
I'm Carl Gregory from the Crab Corral, and folks, if you like surf and turf, come on down to exit 192. That's right. We're going to be cooking up some crabs and some steaks, and if you want to fight your dad in the parking lot, go for it. Woohoo!
The used car salesman energy is amazing. I really think it's a phenomenal work.
I did steal that directly. Carl Gregory was a car salesman in my hometown, and I'm coming up on, let's see, 12 years of doing comedy at this point, and at this long stage, I think I can say a good like 50% of just all of my comic sensibilities come from used car ads in Alabama that I grew up listening to on the radio. Carl Gregory, legend. Mike Patton, legend. Like, these are the names. Other people talk about Carlin, Pryor. No. I'm talking James Slug.
Well, see, in Texas, we have the liability insurance commercials. We have the Texas Hammer promising, vehicle justice or anything else. So
yeah,
that's the closest we have here.
I was talking to some folks from Australia recently, and they were talking. We were driving, and they were noticing just like how huge the American flags were, and they were like, "Nobody does this in Australia. Like, nobody just has huge Australian flags anywhere." And I had to tell them, "You should drive across Texas because the used car dealerships in Texas have flags the size of a fucking soccer pitch."
Yep, that's absolutely true.
And then I kind of came to the realization that I'm like, I think it's safe to say the bigger the flag, the more full of shit you are. Right?
No, you're not wrong, because I don't think anyone's ever thought, I can trust these people. They have a giant American flag and then an even more giant Texas flag that's waving here.
Yeah. Like McDonald's,
they paid more to get that flagpole set in the ground than you could pay for anything on that lot.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, McDonald's has a flag at every store, but they are 1-to-1. You're going to McDonald's, you order, and then you get McDonald's. So the quality discussion is out the window. They are exactly as advertised, and they have a moderate, nay humble flag size versus a used car dealership in Texas where, as I said, you have the biggest flag you've ever seen. And it's like half these cars probably don't work.
It's a flag so large that on a certain day, it could just eclipse the whole town entirely.
Oh, yeah.
Block out the rays.
I mean, I've literally been driving down Interstate 10 and had the sun blocked for a couple of seconds traveling 80 miles per hour by a flag at a car dealership. So, and I'm sure they exist out here in California, but I've never seen anything like a used car dealership flag in Texas. So.
Yeah, I-10 is also the gateway to hell, basically.
Yeah, very true.
So yeah, everything along there is terrifying. You got the Chick-fil-A's that put their flag at half-mast for Sundays. And
what?
We're so sad that it's Sunday.
We're so sad we can't sell chicken sandwiches. It's a national tragedy.
It is weird, by the way, that we don't put flags at half-mast for Good Friday. As religious a nation as we are.
Yeah, come on.
We do it if the Queen dies, which I think if anything we should have raised our flags even higher, had an artificial extension. Yeah.
Lips up.
Yeah. Major W just coming through.
Yeah, lash like a bamboo pole to the top of the flagpole so it's even bigger.
But again, I think that if you put your flag at half-mast, although I guess there's also the Christian flag. Again, Rivers, I'm not sure if that's a thing over in Alabama or maybe
I believe it's the white flag
with the blue square red cross.
The blue square red cross, yeah. Yeah, I have seen that.
That's what they're flying at all the private schools here.
Yeah,
you gotta love it. It's their way of saying that they believe in school choice. Essentially, is what it is.
My good friend is a mailman in rural Alabama, and he was working one day, and he texted me this picture because just via the nature of my podcast and just being interested in such insanity, he's like, well, obviously he needs to see this.
Of course.
It was a picture of a flag that had, it was red, orange, black. It was all the fall colors basically on one flag. And he just texted me, was like, this has to be racist, right? and we didn't, and I was looking online, I couldn't find shit about it. And I was like, I guess it's because, this is rural Alabama. There are legit militia compounds out there. And so we were just sitting there thinking oh, this has got to be some kind of racist fucked up flag. Turns out it took a few days, but we cracked the code. It is the flag of Native American sobriety from drugs and alcohol. So actually a good thing.
The most racist thing of all. Separating a Native American from alcohol? What monsters?
Like, I felt bad for judging, but at the same time I was like, well, at least they're probably cool people. You know, they're like, hey, we don't party anymore, but I bet we're fun as hell to hang out with. They could teach you some shit.
It's got to feel weird because I know like the pivot point for a lot of alcoholics when they find sobriety, which is great, is to get into like the new age mysticism of it all.
Sure.
But, you know, if you're Native American, that's legitimately like, you know, doubling down on your own heritage. Like that.
Right,
that's an incredibly easy pivot without any problematic jumping on.
Right, and you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
As
you can
opposed
sell
to
$35 quarter-size pieces of turquoise to someone and claim that they have vibrational qualities instead of buying it. You know, that's how the market works.
Oh yeah, I've got turquoise bolos in yon closet right there. Yeah, and the vibration I feel is I feel fucking awesome, and I don't have to tie a goddamn tie 15 times to make me look not fat. So that's the vibration that I've got.
That as someone who has to be planning on attending a wedding a little bit later on in February, let me tell you, that is from your mouth to God's ears to my neck.
Buddy, I have told every friend that I have that if I'm not in the wedding party, I'm wearing a bolo to the wedding. Just let it be known. If you want me to wear a tie, you better put me up at the front of the church, because otherwise, fuck you. I'm not tying a goddamn tie for anybody.
And that was the story of how Rivers got married.
My partner the other day, I was telling her, yeah, I know if like we're going to a wedding and it's like, you know, dressy casual, that means you can wear a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, starched blue jeans, a button down, maybe a vest, maybe a blazer over it, and a bolo tie.
Absolutely. That whole outfit could cost $45,000 in
Exactly.
Texas. So.
Exactly. You polish them boots up right, you'll never know if you got them from resale or from Cavender's.
It's like the cast iron pan. Did y'all see that from a couple weeks ago on Reddit, where someone just kept seasoning their pan and polishing their pan and getting coats on it? That's what I'm picturing Zach now doing with cowboy boots.
I showed up to my friend's wedding in Chicago with the bolo tie. I was looking exactly like Norm Macdonald as Burt Reynolds on SNL, like that exact outfit.
Perfect.
And I showed up to it, and then I ended up making friends with the other guy wearing a bolo that I didn't know. we just kind of saw each other from across the room, and we were like, "What's up, bro?" And then I ended up chatting with that dude all night. He was cool as hell. Shout out to Danny.
Perfect. See, now I'm thinking I need to get like a rainbow pin style bolo tie, just so it's my sister's wedding. I don't want her friends to think that I'm like the racist brother that's showing up, you know? Be like, oh boy, there's a reason Karina hasn't been talking to Kelton much the past 7 years, huh?
Ooh, man, get you a liberation fist bolo. That would be fucking dope. I have one in the shape of Alabama that my friend Monica Scott made for me that I wear to the wrestling shows too, and that one's stained glass. It's a stained glass one. Get you a stained glass bolo.
Yeah, see, I was thinking like a y'all means all kind of thing as a style, but yeah,
hell yeah.
There should be an LGBTQ plus friendly bolo tie in the shape of Texas. If not, my God, check out our Redbubble in 8 days.
Hey, listen, I have been to a great Western wear store in Chicago called Alacala, and they for sure had rainbow flag cowboy belt buckles. So if they got that shit, you know they got matching.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so it's around. That store, by the way, they have a pair of cowboy boots that Andre the Giant ordered and never picked up. And
wow.
so when you walk in the store, there's a boot that's like the size of most people's abdomen, just right in the middle of the store, and everybody looks at it. It's pretty sweet.
The fact that like some people can truly just be so large, like
Andre
the Giant, it really does make me look at them the same way that I look at like German Shepherds and Chihuahuas. I mean, like these are not the same species.
Right.
Like, come on now. Like that is a giant. That is like a biblical creature that comes in to try and slay whatever random kid picks up a sling. That is not someone who's going to star in The Princess Bride. Like, come on now.
Oh man, hell yeah.
But a wonderful, wonderful guy. Let's see.
Speaking of starring in.
Yeah. What
Kelton,
have we?
You revealed to me what James Gunn has revealed to the world.
That's right.
Which is the slate of DC Universe IPs coming out.
Listen,
Aren't you excited for Booster Gold, y'all?
James Gunn said, "Hold on. It's not a joke. I'm serious. It's for real happening this time. Don't go anywhere." Spent the first minute and a half pleading on his knees for people not to log off. So I appreciate it.
Look, this is the wrong James that we should be giving funding to, but anyone that's willing to try and revitalize the DC universe away from Zack Snyder, I will give a pass.
That really is, like, again, Zack Snyder was trying to copy Christopher Nolan in a lot of ways, like with Man of Steel, meaning he was the guy who was following the guy, like he was following the Dark Knight isms. James Gunn is the guy who's following the guy who was following the guy. Like, that's a much better spot to be in, Like
Right.
to give an Alabama comparison, you don't want to be the college football coach that comes in after Nick Saban. Like, it's not going to be a fun time for you at all. But, hey, the guy who comes after the guy who came after Nick Saban, that's a real cushy spot. No one's complaining when you're only making the championship game, but not the national title,
Right. The bar is low.
Exactly.
But also, it could be argued that he is following himself because they hired him off of his work in Marvel, initially.
True, yeah.
So he only has to meet the expectations set by himself in another comic book franchise.
It is amazing because he did the whole Marvel thing, right? He then makes a DC movie, that he makes a DC TV show for HBO Max, and Warner Brothers basically went, "Oh, this wasn't absolute garbage. All right, you are now co-CEO of all of DC now. Please don't fuck this up."
Well, they did the same thing to Zack Snyder. It was like, "Oh, you did Watchmen, you did 300, you could do comic books, right?" And then they just handed him the keys to the car.
It's very true. That is almost exactly how it went. That really hurts me, though, to think about. I hope at least James Gunn will have a better track record at the end of the day. I mean, like, outside of like the pedophile tweets and all of that controversy.
Zack Snyder also like did really good doing Watchmen because the source material is just too good.
Yeah.
He didn't have to. All he had to do was put slow-mo shots into it, and then that was it. That was his movie.
And then more Dr. Manhattan dick. More.
That's right.
I saw that movie because I read The Watchmen once because I went to college, so you have to, I've read 3 comic books, and it's The Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns and like a few issues of Preacher that just happened to be sitting on my table because someone said Bill Hicks was in it, so I was like, all right, I guess I'll.
Not a libertarian. I just need to back this. Let's rewind this
not
a little.
No, The Killing Joke, SMH.
Yeah, nah. But yeah, so not like a huge comic book guy, but The Watchmen was one that I read because I worked at a pizza place, and if you work at a pizza place, a copy of Watchmen is just hanging out by the folded boxes in any pizza place in the world. So
Rorschach's Journal. Pepperoni died in New York today.
A comedian was born here tonight in this pizza place.
It's a guy who is like the Joker movie that came out, who thinks he's Rorschach. Like that's the level of how it goes. But wow.
But all I'm saying is I was somewhat familiar with the source material. I watched the movie. I was not as high on that movie as everybody else. And I think later it became like, oh, this is one of his good films. I fucking did not really like The Watchmen. I've only ever seen it the once, and it was in theaters the weekend it came out, so maybe I need another rewatch. But the thing I just remember was they somehow turned The Times They Are A-Changin' by Bob Dylan, which is approximately a 3-minute song, into a 15-minute song where they just kept looping it at the beginning. And everyone, when I bring up this complaint, everyone's like, oh, well, they did this in the comic books. I'm like, yeah, go find Bob Dylan's live versions of that song, which are way longer. Do something else that's not me as a Bob Dylan guy just going, stop it. We've done this verse already.
Now. Yeah. The Watchmen movie,
when he does it, I can hear it.
He turns it into a reggae song on Live at Budokan. Find that fucking version.
that would be great. It just as part of the montage, it's just like all the heroes getting real high, just pausing. They're like kind of wandering off. You lose track and focus of the film. They're like, oh, where was I? Oh, that's right. The times they are changing.
You've never heard "You Go Your Way and I'll Go Mine" until you've heard it as a reggae song on Live at Budokan, the record that happened right before Dylan's brain got broken and he became a Jesus guy.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's like the height of Dylan cocaine mania, right before he started believing that Kiss was the actual devil and stuff like that.
Yes. I believe, as the kids would say, that's now called Bob Dylan's Donda era.
Yes.
To make it relatable.
Yeah, except he could reel it back in.
We'll see. He
made "Oh Mercy." He got out of that hole. He made Time Out of Mind.
I meant our current iteration. My dig is way out.
That's what I'm saying. Kanye cannot reel himself back. He's done. Did you see they released? He had to release his campaign details today from what is turning out to be a pretty bad 2024 campaign, believe it or not. And since he did his heel turn, he has literally made $0.
Hell yeah. Respect.
Like, no one has given him a dime in campaign contributions, but he has spent, apparently he is handing out $40,000 checks like it's candy. He gave $40,000 to Milo, gave $40,000 to fucking Nick Fuentes, and it's just that sum for some reason for everybody. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't know.
It's a sacred number.
It's Warhammer 40K. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Kanye West and Henry Cavill just deciding to play it one day.
They have a war map of the United States in that campaign office. Okay. And the space Marines are Ultramarines.
Honestly, if
are
you were to get Kanye into Warhammer 40K lore, he would really start vibing with the whole God Emperor concept. So I think that would appeal to him.
Wow. If he had just gotten scooped up by tabletop gaming nerds and not Nazis, the world would just be so much better.
He still would have ended up a Nazi. Like, come on now.
He's one subreddit away from being a Warhammer Nazi, not like a Twitter Nazi. Okay?
Just a whole bunch of hype beasts waiting for the latest miniature drop to happen.
Oh my god.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, he's got Yeezy mechs and shit or whatever.
Oh, fuck. Come on, Kanye. Probably a more lucrative market somehow, some way.
He made $0 from being a Twitter Nazi, and it's like, dude, I guarantee you, there's nerds out there that would have gone for this.
You can make money as a Twitter Nazi. You cannot make money as the guy who already has money being a Twitter Nazi.
Right.
The Twitter Nazis get paid by other people to be the Twitter Nazis. It is not a generation unto itself.
Yeah, the Twitter Nazis start off at 0 fans and then work their way up, as opposed to billions of fans and working their way down to a Twitter Nazi level following. You did this backwards.
I do like the campaign motto, yay 2024, but I made graduation. It's pretty solid.
We do a thing called Top 3 where we get our listeners to write in prompts, and then we'll make top 3 lists based on that. And somebody's prompt was top 3 debut albums, and it's that thing of like, you can't fucking not mention The College Dropout because everything sounds like that from there on out. And I was saying, like, and it kind of came to me in that moment, but removing Kanye West from music is kind of like as much as it kills me to say it, it's like removing Cosby from comedy. It's like it's so influential that you have to fucking at least mention it. But God, it sucks. It sucks that you have to have that conversation now.
I think Cosby's saving grace. Watch what I say after this.
I'm wrapped in anticipation.
Is that every other comedian from that era also seems like they were a monster as well?
This is true.
When you scratch the surface just ever so slightly, it's like, oh, Cosby was absolutely a monster, but he thought he was taking, he knew he was taking advantage of people, but so were all of these other people as well,
right?
And so it just kind of became not necessarily the fall guy for it, but the poster child of that. So it kind of gave a lot of people the chance as comedians from the era to go, oh yeah, we all have to live and learn. We all have to mature, blah, 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 blah. It's like what's happening with Tim Allen, when Pamela Anderson says that he flashed her, Tim Allen says, no, that didn't happen. Then a couple days later, the video came out of him flashing his Home Improvement co-star. And it's just all right, that seems to give a little credence to what Pamela has to say. But
I had a friend he was opening for Tim Allen at the Laugh Factory. They didn't know each other. That was just how the show was booked. Okay. And I went to just watch my friend, and this is 2014. So this is really before I had any idea of how, deeply fucking right-wing Tim Allen was. But boy, I found out that fucking night. So I could have called this in 2014 if you'd asked me, because I remember saying to my buddy, after Tim Allen went out, first of all, it is going to be, for a child of the 90s, hearing Buzz Lightyear say the F slur for homosexual people. You're just like, I am not mentally ready for that, but it happened, and this is on Sunset Boulevard in the heart of Hollywood, and all I was thinking watching that is I cannot imagine what this act is going to be when he gets to Tulsa. If this is what he's saying in fucking godless Hollywood, then this is probably real fucked up when he goes on the road.
Can't wait for my uncensored, uncanceled Louis C.K. sold out Madison Square Garden tour edition.
Yeah. He is gonna, when he decides to go on tour, because that's what's gonna happen next, because he's gonna get whatever project he has. They're gonna be like, oh, Toy Story 5, we're gonna get whatever, whatever it is, whatever the grievance that he gets to pivot his career around, it's coming soon. And if it's not, he'll just make a big stink somewhere, being like, oh, I don't get jobs anymore. And then we get the comedy tour, and I'm hoping it's him and Jim Brewer. I just got to see it,
Well, I thought, Roseanne is also going on tour now. She's coming back. I only know this because I was watching the football game this weekend, and then there was a solid minute promo where it was the icon, the most legendary person who speaks their mind, blah, 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 being so vague. I was like, which right-wing conservative comedian is this going to be? You gotta be more specific at this point. And then, it was Roseanne, uncanceled.
Wait, this was an ad during the football game?
Yeah. It was during the football game because it was on Fox. So, check out Fox Nation for the Roseanne comedy special from her tour, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, it's from Fox Nation. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so...
boy.
I was like, oh, well, this is... I keep forgetting that Disney bought out the Fox Media Studios, but not the Fox, broadcasting or sports. And so that's all still Murdoch Group, which is still super right wing. Of course. But it's very weird to get Fox Nation, Fox Weather, Fox News advertisements when I'm just trying to watch, grown men get heart attacks on the field.
Right.
Keep the politics out of my football game is what I'm saying.
I really fucking hate to hear that uncancelable is a meme about it. Now they're just using it unironically.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, again, another thing I could have called when that started going down. Fake news was a thing liberals said for about 2 days before Donald Trump just absorbed it into the Katamari Damacy that is his fucking weird brain.
It's gonna suck so bad when he's our president again. It's really not gonna be a good time for anyone.
See, I say this like for obvious reasons that I want him to lose, but also, I want him to lose again just to watch the second meltdown. It's going to be fucking great.
This new documentary, 2,000 Mules.
Biden
definitely super stole the election for
20
real this time.
200
Honestly, I it would be so great if Biden legitimately did steal the 2024 election.
That's the best possible world, is that Trump loses, but it is by subversion. He has a legitimate claim.
He would claw his own eyes out of his face.
That's it. You've solved it. That is the funniest possible outcome. Biden wins, but it is absolutely blatantly cheating, and he can't do anything about it.
Once again. DeSantis screws Trump one last time.
Ooh, man, I'm waiting for that chair to the back from DeSantis any day now, because they're all just fucking salivating at the idea of having any opponent that's more normal than him. Like, and by they, I mean, the rich Republicans that are, never Trumpers that represent approximately none of the electorate. But boy, you can just see it every fucking day. Anytime Trump says anything about DeSantis, they are trying to actively broadcast that as much as possible, hoping to get DeSantis to actually bring out that steel folding chair and hit him with it. But
I think they're also hoping that will only be DeSantis, so that way then they don't have what happened last time, where Trump always took the majority of the votes, but never 51% of the total vote. And so because that was his whole strategy, was that there were enough, of the 10 candidates running, they split it up just enough that his 20% was enough to win it all. Again, it'll be interesting. We got way off of the topic of James Gunn news.
Swamp Thing, motherfuckers. Swamp Thing.
Let's get excited. James Gunn, he released what he called it's chapter 1 of what is now being called the DCU plan. I don't know what you want to call it other than that, calendar, I guess. But chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters. And the biggest thing right up top is that they're going to have continuity between the voice actors and the actual actors. So everything's going to be happening in one mainline universe. And the person who's voicing, I don't know, Rick Flag Sr. or what Atomic Skull is going to be the same guy who's going to play them if there is a live action version made, or vice versa.
I will say this is unprecedented, because this is the first time in the history of animation that all the voice actors will have abs. It's never happened before. Not once. Usually it's schlubby dudes that are just making a killing, sitting in their closets and recording into very expensive microphones. But not this time, baby. They're all going to be shredded up, glistening muscles.
I mean, isn't this a tactical error on their part? To do that at the beginning? It feels like let the animated thing be its own, and then let the live action be its own. I don't think anyone was ever man, look at Robert Pattinson's vocal performance as Batman.
I mean, right? I'm going to just full disclosure here on a personal level. I will watch any live action Star Wars fucking anything. Good or bad, I'm one of those people. Feed me more. I like Star Wars. I'll watch whatever you're giving me.
Sure.
I have never seen an animated Star Wars thing.
Really? None of Clone Wars, none of that stuff?
You can't make me. I just won't. I have to have, and that's part of the Dave Filoni thing is you got to watch my cartoons to get it. I'm like, fuck you, no, I don't. I won't. I don't know of cartoon. I mean, I feel like a fucking caveman saying this, but cartoons to me have to be funny, or I don't give a shit.
Sure.
I don't know what it is. It's just a weird hang up. I've never seen an anime.
How dare you have a preference? How dare you?
I
this is a pro animation podcast.
I watched F is for Family whenever that drops. I watch every episode in one sitting because I like Bill Burr and I like funny cartoons. But for whatever reason, I'm just like, so as soon as I saw that was the first thing they were doing, I'm like, that is fucking bold, because I know it's like a weird tick and I recognize that it's a weird tick about myself, but I can't be alone in that. There's got to be the drop off.
Can I give you some insight here, Rivers? The DC animated universe is considered the only thing good DC has going for it. So they are trying to win over those people first with a good DCU animated project and going like, see, look, quality's not dropping off. Like, they're trying to win over those people first because they know that they're going to get some live action people. Like, did you watch the Peacemaker TV show?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's where they'll get you, is with the Waller TV show that's set in the Peacemaker universe. So it's going to bring everyone back together basically for that, and it's going to be Suicide Squad meets Viola Davis doing her own thing again.
Yeah. And I like that. I'm into that. I very much enjoyed Peacemaker. And another dumb thing about me, it's like, if it's got a wrestler in it, I feel like I have to support them the way I did when they were in the ring. So I've seen every Dave Bautista thing. I've seen every John Cena thing. I will, whatever it is, The Rock, I've watched so many bad The Rock movies because he's the people's champion.
You can just say Rock movies. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah. It was
Black Adam.
Fast Five is such a dick tease because you just see the potential and then it's just been squandered since then. And yes, Black Adam was fucking hilarious because I was like, they're doing all of the ironic things that they did in the Suicide Squad, but unironically. Mm-hmm. We're just like, who, and if nothing else, like him or not, just having James Gunn there is like a guy with a vision. Again, like it or not, some people like it. I happen to be one of those people. Some people do not. Fair enough. But having somebody there who's got his hand in all of the pots that are on the stove is ultimately a good thing, because those DC movies have been so wildly fucking uneven,
And, well, I also, you kind of mentioned it, so I want to, before I forget, he also mentioned that there's like the mainline DCU, which is what these are all going to be falling under. But then there will also be these other side projects, like the Todd Phillips Joker movie setups and the Robert Pattinson Batmans. Those are all falling in the Elseworlds category, which is like great. You have it set up that way, for people, which is, I think, something that Marvel. I mean, who could have known that the MCU would take off the way it did back in like 2006, right? But
yeah,
the fact that DC is saying, like, we're going to have our mainline stuff and then also stuff that's just kind of our one-offs or things, that we want to try out and do, that I think is good from the beginning. Like, not to say everything is all falling into this. Watch it all come together, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, no,
they should call that slate of films just the things that worked, and everybody would get it. They're like, oh, these are the things that worked. Like, yeah, okay, Joker worked. Yeah, I get it. All right, yeah, keep going with the things that worked category. But the rest of this shit, fucking give me
Snyderverse
everything.
is gonna get buried on the HBO app. Like, it will never.
He never did anything that worked. I'm sorry.
Welcome to Roku Originals.
Zack
Zack Snyder uncanceled. He's just doing his own.
Hey, Zach, I know somebody that works at Roku. I can get you that hookup, pal.
It's
now,
Catman now.
Rivers, you heard the news, by the way, right, about Zack Snyder and his Rebel Moon TV show that's happening?
Oh no,
it's a movie. I'm sorry, Netflix bought a script and a concept from Zack Snyder that Zack Snyder is directing. It's a 2-part film series called Rebel Moon. It is Zack Snyder's take on Star Wars, because Zack Snyder pitched to Disney a Star Wars movie that Disney said no to, and then he basically kind of changed the names and then was like, hey, Netflix, I have a movie for you. And Netflix went, oh, you're a big name? Awesome, cool. Here's $500 million.
Good thing I have blackout curtains in my bedroom, so I'll be able to actually see what's going on the screen. Otherwise, there's a bunch of red orbs bouncing around on there, washed out in my living room.
I mean, look, making a fake Star Wars has worked in the past. We're all still talking about The Last Starfighter. That is actively a thing we all love, and everyone loves, and everyone's heard of.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like the only thing you can take away from it is the world, and then we could all shamelessly reskin it for like a tabletop RPG setup instead. You steal from someone who steals, and it's ethical. But anyways,
Zack Snyder is joyless Michael Bay.
yes, honestly,
and that because I'm on a Bay crusade. I'm just
vindication for Ambulance. That
Ambulance
movie
was
rocked.
fucking dope. It was dope. Pain and Gain is one of the
Hell
best
yeah.
the best comedies of the 2010s. No
One
question.
of the only good rock movies. Speaking.
Yeah,
of.
there you go. Yeah, that might be the best actually, because I would say Fast 5 is more of an ensemble piece. But if we're just talking strictly where The Rock is the co-star of the film, fucking Pain and Gain's incredible. And if you just ignore Transformers, which I have done, I've still never seen a Transformer. I will not see them. I view those as just a boondoggle. I think of that as like kind of, if Michael Bay is America, that period is sort of the War on Terror. Look,
it's less that and more like kids need college funds.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was pointless, it was unnecessary, it was expensive, and we should just forget about it because it was lives were ruined, and let's not talk about it. But other than that,
you can't stop me from enjoying Gundam.
yeah. But other than that, the man's record is almost unimpeachable. The Island does suck, but he's got some bangers.
I mean,
And-
let's not say unimpeachable. 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi.
I forgot about that one. I forgot about that
is
one.
responsible for Jim becoming Jack Ryan and a CIA asset. Like,
Okay,
that
yes.
movie alone did some real world damage there.
Okay, I did forget about that one. But other than that, all I'm saying is you can feel joy in Michael Bay's filmmaking.
Yes.
And like I recently watched like a behind the scenes thing of Bad Boys 2, and him making that movie, everybody on that movie was just sort of grumpy because they're in sweltering Miami heat, and he's got to get the crane shot of the camera swinging around as they're like pointing guns, and he does it over and over, and everybody's just like, we're all gonna pass out from heat stroke, Mike, like we're gonna die. But he gives a shit. And Zack Snyder he's got that same sort of mentality. Yeah, he's got that same sort of mentality where at the expense of everything else, it's gonna look good. But Michael Bay's version of looking good is what human beings would think looks good, whereas Zack Snyder's version is like, as you said, it's got to be gray and fucking rainy, and everything has to just, suck your eyeballs into the screen for trying to look at the goddamn thing. So
I forget who said it, so I certainly don't want people to think that this is an original idea by me. But Zack Snyder is a art designer, like a film art design person who thinks they are a cinematographer who is treated like a director. Like that's kind of what ends up happening, because it's not even like cool shots as much as like, oh, you thought slow-mo was cool. Oh, wow, that I have also seen The Matrix. Congratulations.
Right.
That's a good element there.
So I'm bon voyage, God bless you, Zack Snyder. I'm not sad to see him out of this whole thing. Make art, man. You make certain groups of people happy, and that's great. But it's time to make a real fucking Superman movie, huh,
Yeah.
folks?
Yeah,
Right,
bringing
the
it back
animated
in.
one.
Yeah.
I grew up on the animated movies. I think I've seen more animated DC like filmography than I have seen Marvel at this point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still.
Yeah, I mean that there is a lot to comb through.
There is a lot,
certainly-
fortunately. So
certainly no
Marvel
shame in
hasn't passed it up, and all of the grand schemes that James Gunn is going to be involved in are going to be there's different flavors of everything at this point. It's not just edgy Superman movie, edgy edgy version of every movie ever. There's all the shows on this list. There's different takes on all these different characters. Actually,
the Lanterns TV show, which he
Lanterns.
described as True Detective
Yes.
in space. I was like, holy shit! All right, let's go.
That sounds fucking cool. That's just a cool twist on that shit.
Just add the word space to anything. Get into my space sedan and smoke a space cigarette on a space stakeout. Yeah.
Hey,
Paradise Lost. They describe it as Game of Thrones, but I imagine it's like a Mad Men intrigue, political drama.
But in Themyscira, we should explain for people, on the island of the Amazons, we get that prequelitis.
It's gonna be Wonder Woman having to do her office work before she gets to go out and murderize a bunch of people.
Get all the Girl Scout badges. Sorry, go Rivers.
Hey, Hal, did you ever notice that our rings are literally a flat circle?
God damn it. It will happen. I almost guarantee you, Rivers. Thank you for speaking that into existence. We also, in actual comic nerd importance, Brave and the Bold is getting made into a movie, so we're going to get little Damian Wayne as Robin appearing in the DCU Batman verse, which I think is going to be interesting because that means we can't do the Bruce Wayne origin story, right? Because this is Bruce Wayne that's already been active for 10 years for Damian Wayne to already be a thing. So
and if you're thinking of just villains, he's already beaten every villain you've ever heard of by the time Damian Wayne shows up. So it's just going to be all the weirdest characters.
Super hot Talia al Ghul cameo popping in.
Oh yeah, baby mama drama. Look out, y'all.
She's come back not just to drop off a kid, but also for the backlog of child support. All right, Bruce.
Yeah.
What? Bruce? No, I'm Batman. You'll never get my secret identity.
Yeah. Well, I will say that seems very strategic because it's the one way that you can do Robin where he doesn't suck ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because every other film depiction you've ever seen of that character has been, Chris O'Donnell or, it's
that's classic,
shite.
though. 30. Yeah. How old was he? He was 32?
Yeah. Batman adopts him and he's 35. And you're like, but, yeah. And then ultimately.
My lord.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And then ultimately at the base of that character, as it's originally kind of depicted, is this is going to have to be a guy in his 30s adopting a kid and then, just basically telling child services to go fuck itself by making him a trained killer. It's you can't actually do that. Now, if it's your son, it's less morally objectionable. And he arrives at your doorstep already a trained killer. So
exactly.
You're like, might as well let the kid be.
I'm trying to stop him from being a killer. I'm trying to save him from the terribleness. Tell me, Damien.
That's kind of a cool angle,
Alfred's taking CPS around, showing them all the little suits that he's had tailored.
They're coming. Yeah, they send a social worker to observe their interactions, and he's just beheading fucking punching bags and shit.
He's working through a lot.
At school this way.
Yeah, just doing spin kicks and breaking a guy's jaw. This would be awesome.
I'm really excited for. You referenced it earlier as well, Rivers. But Booster Gold is coming out, getting an HBO Max TV series, and I am stoked for it, honestly. Because for anyone who doesn't know who Booster Gold is, he's kind of a shithead, but born in the 24th century, who then just takes the everyday technology of then and then goes back in time and is rightfully so treated like a god and realizes he can just become a superhero. So,
does he cure cancer?
No, of course not. Because he has magic ray gun style technology, not technology that will improve the world. So I think in the hands of James Gunn, that will be a very funny thing. Because again, I think they'll touch on that kind of an element. Like, of all the things that you could do to come back, you just thought, like, oh, I can beat up criminals so much better now if I went back and did this.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing on this list I'd never heard of, well, the creature features, what was it called? Creature Commandos and the Authority. No clue.
Right. Yeah, that's the Authority are basically. It feels very weird to say, but it's like, what if superheroes were kind of fucked up in the head, huh?
Ooh, that's not been done.
No, so I'm not real. I'm like, take it or leave it. Like, we already have the boys, so I don't really need an addition of like edgy 90s superheroes. Look at them and like how they're kind of fucked up, but they get the job done. So I guess they're good. Creature Commandos is cool just because it's basically the universal monsters, but if they were soldiers and then fighting. So,
I mean, it's it's very ambitious to have that be the first thing out of the gate, a thing I've never fucking heard of. So it would be a bit like starting the MCU off with Guardians of the Galaxy. So I assume that's kind of his.
I'll take it one step further. That's a little bit like starting off the MCU with Iron Man.
Well, I'd heard of Iron Man.
From what the Fox Kids animated
cartoon
series that you didn't watch because it wasn't funny.
No, I did. I realized after I said that you mentioned the DC animated stuff. I did watch the Batman, animated series and Superman, and then Spider-Man, X-Men, all that shit. So
shit.
Yeah. I watched all that when I was a kid, but I mean, in my adult life, I don't think I've watched a non-funny animation thing. But yeah, I watched all that shit when I was a kid, and I knew Iron Man from that. And I just remember him, every episode of that show, him just like losing his powers somehow and just being like shit.
And I'll defeat you, Mandarin, that we've changed to make not racist somehow.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, I was at least aware of him. I've never heard of the creature features.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That makes sense. Definitely no pushback there. There's also the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is going to be interesting because, you have the Superman Legacy movie that they're wanting to do, and that's going to be like bright and optimistic and cool. And then Supergirl is... she's really jaded because she watched her whole planet blow up while she was on like the neighboring moon or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's some shit to go through, I would imagine.
Captain Marvel-ish.
Are we already bracing for that culture war, Zach?
Absolutely. It's going to have the same pushback that Captain Marvel had.
The forced diversity that exists.
Forced diversity. Wow, she has no expression when she acts. That's the PTSD that she's acting out.
There's a woman on my screen? Damn it. And now you're going to tell me Ron Swanson's kissing a boy. God damn you.
Circle.
Look at what it all comes to, huh?
God, what a good. See, now I need it to come out this year so we can just like open the year with Ron Swanson kissing a boy and close it with.
It's actually like part of the DC credits logo at the beginning. It's just
yeah. He's not even in the movie. It's just Nick Offerman. Just
DC films. What? What?
The DC logo just turns into another man's face, and then they just start smooching.
Bill and Frank's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we'll be talking about that a little bit on the Patreon episode.
Stay tuned.
Last project of Chapter 1. So
get it out of the way. Let's do it.
Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is coming back, y'all. And that's the thing that I'm the most stoked for is Swamp Thing. Because I don't know how familiar y'all are with Swamp Thing, but the idea of, number one, like the horror element of Swamp Thing, but also going into the concept of the green, which is nature, but also a cosmic force element, which I'm just like, okay, James Gunn, like I trust you with anything cosmic related and horror related. So of course, Swamp Thing. Let's go.
I would have, I mean, I'm sure he's got grander plans than this, which is why he's got this sort of towards the end. I would have started with Swamp Thing because I would say my conscious awareness of Swamp Thing right now rivals about what my awareness of Iron Man was when that came out. I would say, because all I remembered was one of my friends, Joey, had all the Swamp Thing toys. And I didn't know shit about Swamp Thing, but I'd go over to his house to play, and like those Swamp Thing toys were so fucking cool. so again, very little awareness of what Swamp Thing is. I don't know any of the. I know nothing about it, but I am vaguely aware of him. So that would have been one to come out of the gun, no pun intended with. But hey, do your thing, Jimmy.
Yeah, again, I'll trust them, and also who knows like how these things will shuffle out.
God,
like DC announcing something and then it doesn't actually come out. Whoa, crazy! That's never happened before, right?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Half the shit isn't coming out.
Yeah, you hear that, Supergirl? It's just you're gonna get folded into the Superman Legacy sequel. That's gonna be all what it comes down to.
Yeah, you'll be in Things That Worked too.
Do y'all have anything, like, as we're kind of wrapping up here, anything that like takes the lead as the project you're most excited for?
I mean, it's always going to be Batman for me. Just okay, all right. I was that kid, man. My depths of interest in comic books pretty much started and ended at Batman.
Sure.
It wasn't until years later when the Marvel movies started coming out, and I'm, not bragging here, but I am an A-list member of AMC.
Wow.
So
okay.
I can go see 3 movies a week, so I will see any Marvel bullshit you throw at me. I don't care. People's criticism of those films is that they're not movies, and I agree, they're not movies. It's a television show, and you got to come back next week to see what happens. And so if you just think of it like that, and if you have that AMC bullshit stub club thing, and the price of movies no longer matters, then you can be a little bit more flippant with your Marvel watching, and it's a good way to live. So I'll watch all this stuff, but at the end of the day, Batman's my heart. Of all those superheroes, as cliche as that fucking is, it's Batman, baby. I'm wanting to see Batman, and I want to see his little devil child fucking decapitate people.
Hard R. I beg you, James Gunn. Hard
Straight up, dude, give it the Peacemaker treatment. Fuck it. That would be incredible. A cursing child that murders people, I'm in.
That's also never happened before. Come on now. You could call him Papa and Hit Boy instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, do it. Honestly, fuck it. Do it. No one saw those movies. Jim Carrey told me not to because there were guns in it, so I didn't see it.
Zach, what about you?
The only one that's super piquing me on this list is Lanterns. Just
hell yeah, that's mine.
As a True Detective show, it's just like I have to see what he's doing with it.
Especially if they get like one of the guys behind, like who was a producer on The Wire or something as well. I'll just be like, oh, this is gonna have like no punching in it. Like this is all just gonna be the esoteric drama. Staring like, I just can't handle it, Kilowog. It was a child. I can't. What Sinestro is capable of. The Yellow King would be Sinestro in this case. It's all coming together. All right.
Yeah. And they can't really fuck with the Yellow King because he's yellow.
Fuck. You ever think about that? That it's our fear that holds us back. It's just getting real fucked up about it the entire time. The one thing I am surprised by that's not on this list, last note to kind of put a button on it, is that it looks like they're going to be proceeding with Aquaman staying like within the DCU as they're constructing it, meaning they're keeping Jason Momoa as of right now as Lobo, and I'm sorry, as Aquaman, and I thought for sure he was going to get signed on as Lobo. Like I thought, like
that's obvious
what's happening. I mean, it's not impossible that it couldn't be, just later on, like Lobo Elseworlds or whatever. But
yeah, one's underwater, one's on a space motorcycle.
Like I genuinely thought that it was going to be Jason Momoa as Lobo, or that they were going to throw all of the money at Hugh Jackman to have him be Lobo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for anyone wondering, Lobo was kind of like a middle finger to Marvel for making Wolverine the way that he was as a part of it, and so like their edgelord, kind of sassy, overly gruff male character. So I thought Hugh Jackman would be a wonderful Lobo to have, because all he has to do is just be in biker shape, and that's it.
Right.
Have an Aussie accented Lobo. That's all I want.
How are you going to pull Hugh Jackman off of Broadway? He's having so much fun.
He's
He
in
can
fucking
do both.
Deadpool 3.
Yeah, come on now. You know how I can? $30 million. Zach.
I was about to say that garage door is open and ready to receive a Brinks truck, my man. Just do it. Back the Brinks truck up to Australia and just let it rip.
Come on, Koala Man, or whatever name you're going by these days. All right. Well, that's going to be an episode for us. Thank you so much for coming on, Rivers. It has been a delight. We're going to be jumping over to the Patreon, so everyone please listen to us over there, of course, and always. Rivers, what have you got to plug, though?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rivers Langley, and you can check out my podcast. It's called The Goods from the Woods. It comes out every week, and you can find us on Twitter at The Goods Pod. And I'm going to be doing commentary at Wrestling Pro Wrestling on March 30th. That's right, the Thursday before WrestleMania goes Hollywood. We're going to be in motherfucking Burbank, keeping it real at the Moose Lodge, and that show is called WrestleMania. And of course, it's a Russell Crowe themed wrestling show.
God damn. God.
Russell Crowe will not be there, but I will be dressed like him in LA Confidential.
Perfect. No bolo ties, unfortunately.
Yeah. Skinny black 40s ties. Yeah.
Awesome. And Zach, what's going on in the garage?
We have an episode coming out on Friday from our good friends in Chicago.
Wow.
So
Also known as
have-
the most North Texas.
Yes,
think
the
it's-
north is the Texan territory's reach.
The Texan Empire has landed in Chicago. The world will never be the same. It's,
Remember the Alamo and Al's #1 Italian beef. I fought my dad in the parking lot there.
That'll be awesome. It's Smoke Break, right? That's what
It's Smoke Break is what it will be called. It should be coming out on Friday, so check it out. It will be interesting to have a new little segment.
Yes,
like
new
about
fan
that.
favorites for us to wage war and try and vie for people's attention for. So
Exactly. Which one will you listen to? The Wednesday show or the Friday show?
yeah, please both, though. This is not an either or, feel free and do like original King Solomon style. Listen to like half of this episode and half of theirs if you had to
Ooh.
pick. Well,
We'll split it in half.
I was going to say, you should make it real confusing and put half of this episode on the back half of theirs and the back half of ours on theirs. Just fucking confuse the shit out of everybody.
they're in the middle of some tangent talking about the punk scene, and then all of a sudden we're like, but lanterns is gonna be great.
Yeah. And, I'm talking about Batman, and then all of a sudden it's like, bears. I don't know what they do. I just assume that's what all Chicago podcasts are.
Break
Sausage,
the stereotype.
bears.
Listen to Smoke Break. I like it. I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us. Little bits of bookkeeping. Follow us on Twitter at Dolphin Garage. More importantly, follow us on TikTok at Dolphin Garage, because Twitter seems to be going down and TikTok has
Why?
the DM feature. So, I mentioned TikTok because otherwise, we won't have a way to communicate with people other than people leaving voicemails asking us to rate their dads, and that can only carry us so far. We'll see.
Well,
We'll see.
when could I be on for one of those segments?
It's an audio voicemail thing, so it's very hard to rate the concept of who your father figures were, by the way. But thank you
Please.
for that. I appreciate that. so
Please,
much.
please call me next time we're rating dads. I will drop everything I'm doing. I will quit my job.
Awesome. Well, until the inevitable dad episode of Dolphin Garage, Dadfin Garage, if you will. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Amarillo by morning, up